Hi, everyone. This is acyuta-bhava from Nightlight Astrology, and today we are going to take a look at the sun's upcoming conjunction to the planet Uranus, as well as its upcoming square to the planet Saturn. Before I dive into that, I want to remind you all that my new class, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic, begins in June. You can check it out on my website, nightlightastrology.com, and learn more about it. If you have any questions, you can email me info@nightlightastrology.com. Here is the page on my website. Go to courses tab on nightlightastrology.com, first year course. You can scroll down and learn everything you need to know about the program. The early bird rate is in effect all the way up until the start of the class. There's a payment plan, and there's also need-based tuition in case you need it. There's a few frequently asked questions section that probably answers all the questions you could have about it. But like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. It's about 100 hours on the year of material focused on ancient astrology, the philosophy, the spiritual components of ancient astrology. And by the end of the program, we're working with a lot of live clients and talking about how to actually implement these ancient practices with people in the modern era. And so I welcome you to, check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so this week we have another major transit after our full moon in Scorpio. Of course, the moon is still in Scorpio today, but here is what's happening. The sun is moving into a conjunction with the planet Uranus. Let's just step this forward. So you can see the conjunction is going to come through by Friday into Saturday. So this is coming through just at the end of the month of April here. And right after that happens, one of the first transits of May that I'll be talking about in my May overview will be the connection with Saturn that it has by May 3rd. So, next week, the sun, after going through conjunction with Uranus, will hit the square to Saturn. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about the square to Saturn later. So today I really want to focus, at least initially, on what it might mean that the sun is going through its conjunction with Uranus. So again, this is happening on April 30th into May 1st. And the reason that it's important to prepare for it is because here on Tuesday, April 27th, we're getting into the engagement range, which is a 3-degree range within which you typically see the manifestation of the symbols. So remember that at this point, we've had a lot of planets already go through the conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. We had Venus and Mercury go through that conjunction already. And we're also preparing in the month of June for the second square between Saturn and Uranus. So here's the phase at which I think we're at right now with this transit. The Saturn-Uranus dynamic is toning this entire year. And remember that what we're doing is we're taking the revolutionary impulse of Uranus, which can sometimes be sudden, erratic, violent, and disruptive, but also can be emancipatory and liberating and very inventive, original. We're taking that and we're squaring it off against serious, sober, mature, disciplined, but also maybe strict, confined, or repressed Saturn. And what that means is that at its best, we have a kind of principled, sober, mature, methodical revolution. We have a carefully crafted recreating of circumstances that allows for freedom, but pairs it with the kind of sober wisdom of Saturn. And this can be like progress that's principled. And you could also think of it as freedom that is hard earned through a kind of long, methodical, patient process. So those are the kinds of things. Now, when the sun hits Uranus, the principle of emancipation, liberation, originality, erraticness, disruptiveness is the first thing that's going to be activated. And for the sun, it's very basic. If you think of the sun as the central symbol of ancient astrology, really, that is because the sun represents the ideal. And the realm of the ideal as opposed to the realm of appearances. Appearances carry ideals, like a horse in that lives and dies, comes into being and goes out of being, carries in it some sense of ideal horseness and the Platonic sense, right? So the sun, in that sense, is always representative of the ideal that our actions are aimed at. I have this ideal of being a married person, or I have this ideal of being good at what I do for a living, or I have an ideal of becoming a successful artist or getting a degree or whatever the case might be. All different kinds of ideals that are informing our actions, an image in our head, either consciously or unconsciously, that is motivating our actions. And in the Platonic sense and in the ancient mystical sense in general, the more that our ideal image is aimed at the highest divine virtues, peace, goodness, beauty, truth, justice, etc., the more that our actions and our life itself becomes happy and virtuous. And that the cosmos itself is always moving toward or aimed at that, but it's also, because there's agents with free will, we also have the potential to sort of fall away or turn away from that, those divine images. So at its best, when the sun hits radical liberating Uranus, the ideal image is changing fundamentally. It's like a random mutation of the ideal. And that, if we are following the good in our lives, meaning if we're cultivating virtues, if we care about truth, beauty, goodness, etc., then this is a moment where there can be a pretty serious twist in the plot that puts us closer to our ideals, or that clarifies how to get closer to them. And for spiritual people, I find that this can be a moment where there's real epiphanies or insights that really flip the script in a positive way. Now, that can be very mundane as well. And I'm not trying to, slam our mundane existence. But for example, you could just get a new idea about how to get more successful at work, or you could have a new idea about how to have a better sex life or something. We're talking about Sun with Uranus in Venus's sign. So any insight about Venusian things that you suddenly get, and you say, oh, now I want to be free. I'm going to, I'm going to get a arm sleeve with tattoos or something, like whatever revolutionary impulse that we have that could have some underlying Venusian appeal to us could be a part of it. We could also look at the Sun and Uranus in Taurus as the ideal way of managing or maintaining something that gives us pleasure or happiness. So there's a lot of, again, there's like a sort of mundane level of this. They could be happening at the exact same time. There could be kind of breakthroughs and inspiration that recalibrates our sense of ideal and how to get there. And then on the other hand, you have this idea of if your life is aimed toward the virtues and you're thinking, how do I get my life to conform to these highest virtues? Well, this is a transit that can be very liberating and full of epiphanies, and it can be a little manic. Like you have to be careful of the feeling of getting plugged in to the electrical, current of Uranus. And that can be a little disruptive and almost like the pride and Herculean hubris of the radical, the sudden radical rebel. Like, oh my God, I've got this thing and it's going to be great. And just, it's like unintentionally drinking a Red Bull or something like that. So you do have to be careful of this feeling of, well, actually, that's a good symbol, isn't it? It's a Red Bull. It's like the sun in the sign of the bull and amped up, right? So it's funny. I don't think I've had a Red Bull since I was like in college. Anyway, okay, so those are the main things that I would watch for with this Sun-Uranus dynamic. Now, on the flip side, it's going to get through that and then hit Saturn. And that's where that potential limitation or constraint or need for seriousness or sobriety or some pushback or meeting with certain kinds of rigidity or opposition, or even feeling some kind of shame about the kind of thing you're trying to create, judgment or guilt being, so there's going to be this kind of Saturnine gauntlet that we have to run after the Uranian breakthrough comes through. So just remember that, because Saturn might clip the wings a little bit. So I would just think of this as a careful, patient process of breakthrough, knowing that next week will really try to reform and shape and make more serious and structured whatever epiphanies we might be having. Okay, so that's what I've got for you guys for today. Things are a little short at the moment. I know some people really like my shorter videos, but at the moment, things are a little bit shorter because I'm in the process of moving. So I have to make my videos in the morning lickety-split so I can get off to moving boxes and unpacking stuff and things like that. I'm building my new studio right now. I hope you guys will really enjoy it. I've been putting a lot of thought and care into what it'll look like in my new YouTube home office, I guess. So anyway, more on that soon. I hope you guys are having a great week, and we will remember later this week, we're going to have May's astrology, horoscopes for the month, and so forth. So lots of good stuff coming. All right, take it easy, everyone. Bye.